Hey everyone, and welcome back to Confessions of a Massage Therapist. My name is Pam, and today we're doing top 5 nasty clients. Some of these are going to have a little bit more of a story to them. Some of them are just a little bit grouped together. I've had a lot of people over the years ask me, what's your worst client? What's the nastiest thing that's happened? So, some people have heard these before, but let's talk about it. So the first one was the guy who left poop in a sheet. As I was changing over my room with another therapist, he looked over and said, ugh. I turn around and I'm like, what? And he points to the sheets, and it is, I can't even say it was a streak. It was just a lot for someone who couldn't have. I don't know if they didn't wipe or they pooped on the table. I really don't. I don't want to know. No, thank you. Moving right along. There was a lady who had this foul odor to her. I don't know. I can't even pinpoint what it is, but I can smell it in my mind as I'm telling you this story. She came in, I checked her in, and I smelled something, wasn't quite sure what I was smelling, but I tried to brush it off. I'm like, maybe it was gas, I don't know. Get her in the room, we do the consultation, and like most clients, at that point, I tell them to undress to your underwear. I left the room, I came back in, I'm doing my thing. I go to tuck the sheet, and I said, you took your underwear off? She says, I'm clean. Which was weird because I didn't say she was dirty. I just asked her about her underwear. But I still smelled that smell, and I'm just like, what is that? I mean, clearly at this point, I knew it was her, but I didn't know what it was. So I'm doing her back, I'm doing her arms, and it was just like, ugh, this is terrible. I move on to her legs. Now, I go to pull the sheets and covers off of her leg, and I get slapped in the face with this odor that it was the same odor, but like 100 times worse. So at this point, I'm figuring exactly where it's coming from. And I think you do too by what I've just said. So I decide, well, I can't necessarily stop this session, so let me just get some peppermint oil to put under my nose on top of my upper lip. Clearly I wasn't thinking because I put the peppermint oil on without some oil mixed with it. So effectively, not only is my nose scorched because of this smell, but I have now burned my upper lip because I put it directly on my skin without some type of oil mixed with it. So I have to wipe it off, and it's still burning, and she's still smelling bad. So it was rough. After the session was over, by the way, it was a 90-minute, like a full 90 minutes, not the spa 90 minutes, which is really 80 minutes. After the session was over, I go to check her out, and she tips. The money that she tipped me with smelled just like that smell, which I'm not sure how that's possible unless it was in her underwear. I don't want to know. Next, we have the guy who smelled like pee. This is a story that's happened within the last 2 years. This guy came in with his wife. They both looked kind of disheveled. I don't know their circumstances, but he just didn't look like he had showered that day or that he cared about his clothing, because it was just a jean and a button up, nothing fancy. He comes in a room, we do the consultation, explaining to him how to get on the table. I come back and I am hit with just a woof of funk. And I'm just like, what is happening? It didn't smell like this when I left the room. And I'm trying to figure out, in the midst of trying to do this session, where is this smell coming from? And it's like I could smell it on his body, but it wasn't like on his body. When I looked at his shoes and socks, they were drenched. So it was almost like he stepped in pee, if that makes sense, and just didn't change his shoes and socks and then wash his feet or something. It was a lot. And now the reason why I continue with this session is because I have a very sensitive nose to certain smells. And the company that I was working for at the time thought I was just complaining to complain. So it was kind of like I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Now, ironically, when this guy came back in, another therapist saw him, because I told them, don't book him with me ever again. She couldn't even start the session. She said it was so bad. Then they decided to tell him that he couldn't come back until he bathed or whatever. Which is ridiculous. If I'm telling you the same thing, why don't you believe me? Anywho, moving right along. Yeah, this happened. The next one happened about the same time as the last one. This is a guy. Now, the company I was working for at the time, the owner had 2 different locations. The guy was banned from the other location, which I don't understand why he wasn't banned from both, if that was the case, but they allow him to come over. And the problem that they had with him is that he was, how do I say this? Being extra in a sexual way with the therapist, touching himself and whatnots. And they knew this. And they're just like, hey, well, if he does this, then I guess you can, stop the session. And it's like, why would you put me in that position? You're not protecting me. So I'm on guard for anything at this point. So I'm doing a session and I flip him over, and he starts doing something with his private areas, and I just tell him to stop it. And he stops doing what he's doing, and he just does it or whatever. And at the end of the session, I go to change the sheets, and I look at the sheets, and it looks like he's left a little something behind. And I knew it wasn't oil because of the placement. It was right underneath his body. And I'm just like, this is so disgusting. Why did you even put me in a position to have to deal with a client like this? So they're like, oh, well, we're making him pay full price, so we're sure he'll never come back. Why is that the way that you handle that versus just not accepting clients that behave this way? But it is what it is. The last group of people that I'm going to talk about, it's all encompassing. It's people who go to the gym and then don't go home or shower at the gym and then come to get a massage. So your armpits and other regions smell awful, and you're potentially sweaty as well, and then you want to get a massage. That's nasty. Go take a shower. Put some deodorant on. I've had this happen in the 10 years that I've been doing this. I think every place that I've worked, I've had at least one person that has, whether they had went to the gym or maybe they just were musty from, they sweat profusely or whatever, come in to get a massage without showering before. Please don't do that. Do every therapist, esthetician, hairstyle, anybody in the industry, do us all a favor. Please shower before you go get a service, please. That's not, that's nasty. Please don't do that. Please shower every time you go to the gym and you want to go to get a service, or go get a massage first, then go to the gym. Either way, that's disgusting. Don't do people like that. So that's the top 5 people or peoples that I have had to deal with in this industry. This is the end. I would like to, say thank you for tuning in. I'm going to be one of those YouTubers. Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn those post notifications on so you know when I drop a video. And peace.